Good day and welcome to our daily news roundup on Atlantic TV. I am Mike Egobadia. Here are our top stories. The court visits site of Nigeria's biggest Met bust. Fubara joins Tinubu Wiki's Rainbow Coalition. Germany targets Nigerian gas flaring losses. And the foreigners in France on high alert as wildfires spread. And talking sports, CAF doubles WAFCON winners prize to $2 billion. Now to the news in full. A Nigerian court has conducted an on-site inspection of what authorities describe as the country's largest clandestine methamphetamine laboratory in Ogun State as part of an ongoing drug trafficking trial. Now, the visit brought together the trial judge, prosecutors, defense lawyers, and the accused to examine chemicals, equipment, and other materials recovered during the operation. Now, the inspection forms part of the country's effort to verify evidence presented by the prosecution in the case involving the alleged illegal production of meth. Authorities said the outcome of the inspection will form part of the judicial process as the trial continues. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has begun a nationwide enforcement operation to remove banned alcoholic beverages packaged in sachet and PET bottles smaller than 200 milliliters from circulation. Now, the agency says the exercise enforces the federal government ban on the production, importation, distribution, sale, and use of alcoholic drinks in sachets and small PET bottles. The operation is being carried out across the 6 geopolitical zones after the closure of a non-compliant manufacturing facility. NAFDAC says enforcement teams are inspecting markets, motor parks, retail outlets, bars, and other distribution channels to seize banned products. It has directed manufacturers, distributors, wholesalers, retailers, and transporters to surrender any remaining stock, warning that anyone found selling or processing the product risks prosecution and regulatory sanctions. The agency says the crackdown is aimed at reducing underage drinking, harmful alcoholic consumption, and substance abuse, especially among young people. It also urged Nigerians to avoid buying the banned products and report offenders through the nearest NAFDAC office or its dedicated hotline. Now, talking politics, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has declared his support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Rebel Coalition ahead of the 2027 general election, saying the political crisis in the state is over. Now, speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony of the Riven Medical Facility in Rivers State, Fubara urged his supporters to back all candidates presented by the coalition. He said he has fully aligned with the political family and called for unity, insisting that it's time to embrace peace and move the state forward. Now, the governor also ruled out any action that could revive political division in Rivers State. He pledged to work for stability and development while reaffirming his commitment to the successful delivery of the Riven Medical Facility. Fubara said the pharmaceutical factory is expected to boost industrialization, create jobs, and position Rivers State as a major hub for the production of medical consumables. He added that the first phase of the project is expected to be completed and ready for commissioning within 3 months. Still talking politics, the Social Democratic Party has asked the Court of Appeal in Abuja to halt the enforcement of a federal high court judgment recognizing Olaitan Adeniyi as a governorship candidate for the 2026 Osun governorship election. Now, in a statement, the party said it also wants the Court of Appeal to restrain the Independent National Electoral Commission from implementing the judgment until its appeal is determined. The SDP urged, or rather argue, that the High Court decision conflicts with a substantive Supreme Court ruling. According to the party, allowing the judgment to be enforced before the appeal is decided could undermine the case and render the appeal ineffective if it succeeds. Now, the dispute stems from the Osun governorship primary and involves questions over the party's leadership and the candidate selection. The respondents in the appeal include Olaitan Adeniyi, INEC, Shehu Gamba, and former national youth leader Uche Chukwuma. Now, talking business, Germany has launched a new program to help Nigerians reduce gas flaring by converting wasted gas into economic value in a move aimed at cutting the country's estimated $1.5 billion annual losses. Now, speaking at the Nigerian Oil and Gas Conference in Abuja, Germany Ambassador Annette Gunther said the initiative will support Nigerians' energy transition by reducing emission and using flare gas to supply homes, industries, and potentially produce hydrogen. She noted that Nigeria remains one of the world's largest gas-flaying nations. Gunther said the program is part of the long-standing energy partnership between Nigeria and Germany, covering low-carbon power generation, natural gas infrastructure, renewable energy, and climate action. She added that both countries are working together to support Nigeria's goal of achieving net zero emission by 2060. The ambassador also announced a skill development program being implemented by GIZ, Siemens Energy, and the European Union to train about 6,000 Nigerian energy professionals. The said initiative is designed to strengthen the workforce needed to drive Nigeria's energy transition and expand investment in the sector. Still talking business, Dangote Petroleum Refinery has resumed loading petrol in Naira after a one-week suspension, setting a new depot price of 1,215 Naira per litre, ending uncertainty over its temporary shift to dollar-dominated sales. Now, the new price represents an increase of 140 Naira per litre from the previous 1,075 Naira, with the refinery attributing the adjustment to rising global crude oil prices. Now, industry sources said the marketers have been notified and truck loading has resumed under the reverse Naira pricing structure. The refinery return to Naira transaction is expected to improve fuel availability after supply disruption forced many independent marketers to source product from private depot. Dangote had earlier suspended Naira sales, citing challenges in securing crude oil under the federal government Naira for crude policy. Meanwhile, petrol and diesel prices have continued to rise at depots and filling stations across the country, with pump prices in parts of Lagos now ranging between 1,300 Naira and 1,400 Naira per litre, raising fear of fresh concerns over the transportation costs and the cost of living for Nigeria. Well, with that news, we need to go on the break now. But do remember, when we come back, more news as it concerns the foreign scene and the ever-exciting world of sport. Join us again.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
On the foreign scene, firefighters are battling multiple wildfires across southeastern and southwestern France as authorities warn that the risk of new blazes remain extremely high. Now, weeks of intense heat have created dry conditions, fueling the spread of the fires and making firefighters' effort more difficult. Emergency crews continue to work to contain the flames and protect affected communities. Authority has urged residents to remain vigilant and follow safety advisories, warning that hot, dry, and windy weather could trigger fresh outbreak across large parts of the country. Now, the latest wildfire adding to growing concerns over the impact of prolonged heat waves and extreme weather on wildfire risks across Europe. Supporters and critics of ousted Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro gathered outside a New York courthouse as a judge announced that his trial will begin next year. Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, appeared in court for a hearing where they are formally informed of a trial schedule. The proceedings attracted significant public attention, with demonstrators expressing sharp divided views. Now, outside the courtroom, supporters questioned the legitimacy of the legal process, while opponents called for accountability over allegations against the former Venezuela leader. The case is expected to draw international attention as legal proceedings continue ahead of the trial scheduled for next year. And talking sports, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has doubled the prize money for the winners of the 2026 Women African Cup of Nations to $2 million ahead of the tournament in Morocco. Now, CAF says the overall prize fund has also been increased by 67% to $5.8 million, with runner-up set to receive $750,000. All 16 participating teams will also earn increased participation fees as part of the governing body's effort to strengthen women's football on the continent. The 2026 WAFCON will be held in Morocco from July the 25th to August the 16th, featuring 16 teams for the first time in a tournament history. Nigeria, the competition's most successful team with 10 titles, will face Zambia, Egypt, and Malawi in Group C. The 4 semi-finalists will qualify automatically for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup in Brazil, while the losing quarterfinalists will compete for the place in the Intercontinental Playoffs. And still, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso has launched a joint bid to host the 2032 African Cup of Nations, marking the first time the 3 Alliance of Sahel state members will be seeking to stage the tournament together. Now, the Malian Football Federation says officials from the 3 countries met with CAF President Patrick Motsepe in New York to advance the bid and described the meeting as a key step in the process of securing the hosting right for the continental competition. Mali and Burkina Faso have previously hosted the African Cup of Nations, while Niger is yet to stage the tournament. Now, the 3 countries say they are working to meet CAF's hosting requirements, including upgrading stadium infrastructure. Now, if successful, the joint bid will see the tournament hosted across the 3 neighboring nations. The next African Cup of Nations will be hosted in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda in 2027. Well, anyway, with that sporting news, we'll come to the end of the news, but let's quickly go check what the weather will look like for major cities in Nigeria today.